When we talk about Sansei, one question always comes up. Who is the strongest? And in the universe of the Knights of the Zodiac, there isn't just one type of warrior. There are Bronze Knights, Silver Knights, Gold Knights, and several other characters who made their mark on the history of the Sanctuary. In every class, someone always stands out, goes further, and surpasses others. Hello, Knights and Amazons. As you know, I'm Wesley, and in today's video, I'm going to show you who the strongest warriors in the entire Saint Seiya universe are, based on the approval of Saint Seiya fans in Japan. So prepare your Cosmo, click like, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this awesome video. I've always wanted to know. This video is based on official information from the canonical Saint Seiya saga, including data and effects presented in the spin-offs. However, in each category, I will bring the most powerful knights, according to Japanese fans of the series. Share your opinions in the comments so we can discuss them and have fun. Starting with the Bronze Knight category. Among all the Knights of the Zodiac, the Bronze Knights have always been seen as the weakest. But those who really follow Saint Seiya know. It's exactly them who break the most limits, challenge gods the most, and defy the impossible the most. Every Bronze Knight experiences a moment, evolution, and miracle. According to the list from Japanese fans of Saint Seiya, Ikki of Phoenix is the most powerful Bronze Knight in the classic saga, a man who is, in a way, immortal, living up to his nickname of the Immortal Bird. His ability is said to be of the highest level among all the knights. This is Ikki of Phoenix. For sure, Ikki always shows up after everyone else and takes down most of the enemies. He's a man who hates moving in a group. Ikki was born an illegitimate son of Mitsumasa Kido, leader of the Grodd Foundation. He and Shun are real brothers with the same father and mother. Ikki went to Death Queen Island in Shun's place. During his training, he did not receive proper guidance from his master. So it's not an exaggeration to say that his fighting power is the result of self-learning and natural talent. After that, in the manga, he defeated Django. The leader of the Black Knights obtained the title of Phoenix Knight and took Django's place as the leader of the Black Knights. We have to remember that in the canonical story, after killing his master, Ikki had to defeat all the Black Knights before fighting Django and conquering the Phoenix armor. So, in the original story, his journey was much harder than in the anime. Besides, Ikki fought against Shaka right after getting the Phoenix armor. These memories of the battle against Shaka are erased and only return when he faces the Gold Saint again in the 12 Houses saga. In the beginning, Ikki gave a really bad impression. Controlling the Black Saints, he attacked the Galaxian Wars tournament, organized by Saori Kido and the Grodd Foundation. He even fought against his brother Shun and the other Bronze Saints. But after an all-out battle, he regretted it. In the first confrontation with Shaka, Gold also realized that Ikki was just forcing a bad guy attitude. After that, he appeared in several battles, helping his brother Shun. He always acts alone and shows up when Shun and the others are in trouble. Ikki calls himself a lone wolf who hates acting in a group. Above all, Ikki is always remembered for fighting against very strong enemies. Because of this, it is believed that he has a higher level of skill, not just among the Bronze Saints, but among all the Saints. Both enemies and allies respect him, and he's seen as stronger than the protagonist. Seiya, the Pegasus, would be a rival in this regard, but while Seiya struggles to win his battles, Ikki has scenes where he defeats his enemies overwhelmingly, which gives the impression that he is much stronger. At the start of the manga, Ikki easily beat the Bronze Saints and then completely defeated two supposedly superior Silver Saints at once in his first fight against them. Because of this, some of the Silver Saints ended up with a rather lackluster image. In the series, Ikki defeated them so easily that they seemed like generic enemies, so he stood out even more. That's why the Phoenix Saint has this image of appearing out of nowhere and winning instantly. But with Shaka of Virgo, it didn't go so well, thus being one of the strongest opponents among the Gold Saints, even when the other Bronze Saints didn't stand a chance. Ikki fought bravely against Shaka. Ikki always faces strong opponents, and among them we have Shaka of Virgo, Saga of Gemini, Mib of Benetanash, Bado of Alcor, Kanon of Sea Dragon, and Ayakus of Garuda. Only extremely powerful warriors, all of them are high level or considered the strongest in their classes. Fighting against people like that and having good battles shows that Ikki is really very strong. And that's why we can understand the Japanese fans' perspective when they choose Ikki as the most powerful among the Bronze Saints. However, we know that Ikki understands there are saints stronger than him. Although he's considered someone arrogant, I see Ikki as someone very confident in his powers. And many people wonder if he's really that strong. Because of the Phoenix Cloth, it's the only one among all the armors that has a strong self-recovery function. Even if it's destroyed, as long as there's a handful of ashes. It revives completely in an instant, and Ikki was the only one in history to be able to wear this armor. He must have had some aptitude. Also, remember that when Ikki tried to escape the orphanage, he got a 10,000-volt electric shock. Maybe he already had a talent for immortality back then. And he survives even after receiving the Galaxian explosion several times from different Gemini saints, which can be called the ultimate technique, the most destructive power among the gold saints. Therefore, Ikki is exactly like a phoenix. You could say that his indomitable spirit made him worthy of wearing the Phoenix Cloth. Now let's talk about the most powerful silver saint, Orpheus of Lyra. Here in Brazil, many might say that Albion of Issafiu would be considered the most powerful silver saint. It appears this list from Japanese fans only considers the silver saints featured in the classic saga. Another very powerful silver saint, who I think even surpasses Albion, is Suikyo of Tasa. However, he only appears in the Next Dimension saga. So let's talk a little about Orpheus. In the manga, the Silver Saints were left with a strong impression that they were easily defeated by Seiya and his friends. But it's difficult for a Bronze Saint to defeat a Silver Saint. There's a huge gap in skill level. We can say that Seiya and his friends are the ones who are abnormal. In the Hades saga, we meet Orpheus, a harp master whose melodies can enchant even the gods. They say the sound of his lyre was loved by the Sanctuary Master and the Gold Saints, healing the hearts of those who suffered. In combat, he doesn't use physical martial arts, but rather hypnosis through the sound of the harp and attacks by controlling the strings. Orpheus of Lyra is a very strong silver saint. He is Greek and trained at the Sanctuary. He is a legendary saint whose abilities are said to rival those of the Gold Saints. However, Orpheus had a girlfriend named Eurydice, but she died after being bitten by a poisonous snake. He went to the world of the dead to ask Emperor Hades to bring her back to life and ended up staying there. However, Hades wanted Orpheus to remain in the underworld. Hades was also moved by the sound of his lyre, but he definitely wanted his strength. Also, due to a plot by Pandora and Pharaoh, his beloved Eurydice had the lower part of her body turned to stone. In the field of flowers of the second prison, unable to move, Orpheus chose to stay by her side, and in return, he played his music for Hades and the judges of the underworld. In the story, Orpheus showed enough strength to defeat the Specter Pharaoh, in an instant. Previously, the Sphinx Specter was Hades' favorite due to his harp's sound. But since Orpheus arrived in the underworld, he lost his position and became extremely jealous. However, Orpheus didn't have any grand battles, but he showed signs that his skill really matched that of a gold saint. But he ended up suffering a fatal wound from a surprise attack by Radamanthys. Among the Silver Saints, he is considered the strongest by Japanese fans. Although I don't see him in this position, now let's see who is the strongest gold saint according to the Japanese fanbase. And my friends, that's Shaka of Virgo, a man so skilled that he's called the man closest to God, being the reincarnation of Buddha. He is an existence that transcends normal human concepts, being able to converse with Buddha. I really don't think Shaka is the strongest in Saint Seiya, but just like the Japanese, many fans say he is. In my opinion, Saga of Gemini would still be the greatest of all. Leave your opinion down below. And let's continue with the saga of the 12 houses of the Sanctuary. Even though the Bronze Saints were exhausted from the previous battles, Shaka took Seiya, Shiryu, and Shun out of action simultaneously in an instant, without giving them time to counterattack. And Ikki, who showed up later, also didn't completely defeat Shaka. The Virgo Saint was sent to another dimension along with Ikki in a suicide attack, but he quickly returned to the House of Virgo, asking Mu of Aries for help. According to Mu, if it had been just Shaka, he could have easily returned on his own. Helping Ikki must have been an act of mercy. Anyway, he always gives off a sense of calm in any fight. His performance in the Hades saga was incredible. Shaka destroyed most of the invading Specters with one blow and also faced Shura of Capricorn, Kamo of Aquarius, and Saga of Gemini. He didn't back down a single step, even when facing the three Gold Saints together. And keep in mind that these three are among the top tier in terms of skill among the Gold Saints. All the Gold Saints awakened the seventh sense, but Shaka was the first to awaken the eighth sense, the Arayashiki. In Buddhist terms, you could say he's on another level. In the Hades saga, it was necessary to awaken the eighth sense to go to the world of the dead. Otherwise, you couldn't go. You're controlled by underworld laws and can't fight. So, it's essential for the knights to awaken this power, something that happens with the bronze knights and some other gold knights, like Kano and Doko. They fought freely in the underworld because they had awakened the eighth sense. But at the Wailing Wall, all the other gold knights also achieved this power. Besides that, the eighth sense apparently has an amplifying effect on the cosmos, so it can also be considered an element that increases power. Shaka's techniques are extremely powerful, including the 6 paths of reincarnation and the treasure of heaven. He throws his opponent into one of Buddhism's 6 worlds: hell, hungry ghosts, beasts, asuras, humans, or paradise. According to him, since the opponent has the right to choose, it is still a merciful technique. But the technique itself is terrifying. The treasure of heaven is the ultimate technique that Shaka unleashes when he opens the eyes he kept closed. It disrupts the area, blocks escape, and destroys the opponent's 5 senses, leaving them unable to react. It's a perfect technique for both attack and defense. And because it's such a dangerous ability, Aeolia told the Bronze Saints not to let Shaka open his eyes. And even for the trio Saga, Shura, and Camus, the only way to counterattack was to use the forbidden Athena exclamation to break the technique. When it comes to brute strength, Shaka is really strong. There's no doubt when discussing who is the strongest gold saint. His name is the first to come up along with Saga of Gemini, who was the final boss of the 12 houses. Thanks to Shaka, fans born under the sign of Virgo are always very proud. And guys, in this list of the most powerful characters, according to Japanese opinions, we have another gold saint representing the Lost Canvas saga. I'm talking about Regulus of Leo. The Lost Canvas is a story from the past, an official spin-off that tells the story of the Holy War of the 18th century. In this work, we meet Regulus, who is the son of Ilias, the previous Leo saint. He was trained by his uncle, Sisyphus of Sagittarius, and is called the Young Lion. Regulus is only 15 years old, making him a very young gold saint. Besides that, because he has an extraordinary cosmos, he was called a genius since he was a child. However, my friends, I don't believe that Regulus is the most powerful gold saint. In the Lost Canvas, we have saints with much more incredible feats and absolute displays of power. Maybe he could be the most talented, but I wouldn't say he's the most powerful. What do you think, Leo Saint? He not only used punches at the speed of light, but also has the talent to observe his opponent's movements and imitate their techniques. Regulus quickly masters the cosmos and learns techniques after seeing them once. With each fight, he grows rapidly and surpasses his opponents. He is a genius, but outside of fighting, like understanding a gold saint's mentality or the human heart, he still has much to learn. His special technique is the plasma lightning and the power capsule, just like Aeolia of Leo. He can also use the Athena exclamation alone. Normally, 3 gold saints perform this technique, but Regulus manages a smaller scale version by himself in the story. He used this on Radamanthys, but couldn't defeat him. Since Radamanthys also had Hades blood, the attack was repelled. That judge of the underworld was impressive, especially in the Lost. In the end, Regulus still used the Zodiac Roar, which is the abilities of the 12 Gold Saints unleashed all at once. After being wiped out, the Gold Saint awakens the 8th sense and, with one punch, surpasses Radamanthys' gods to destroy the Specter's heart. Let's discuss Siegfried of Dubé, the most powerful god and warrior in the classic anime. I think there's no doubt here Siegfried is considered the strongest in every corner of the planet. In the land of the northern gods, Asgard, there are warriors, gods who serve the god Odin. Siegfried is their leader. He has an ability that greatly exceeds the others, making him the strongest. He is an original character from the anime and one of the legendary god warriors in the Asgard saga. This saga is original to the anime. It doesn't exist in the manga. However, there is a manga made by Chinese fans that was posted on the internet, where they tell the story of the Asgard saga. In this manga, the drawings are redone to match Master Kuramada's style. Siegfried is Hilda's guard captain and has served her since he was young, even while questioning her madness. He is honorable and absolutely loyal, vowing to protect her even at the cost of his life. He was different from the other god warriors, just like the greatest hero of Norse mythology, Siegfried. They say he became immortal by bathing in the blood of a monstrous dragon he defeated in the forest. When he bathed in the blood, a leaf from a tree accidentally stuck to his back without him noticing. That part did not become immortal. At this point, he is just like the mythological hero, with this being his weak spot, but besides his back, he had another weakness: his ultimate technique. The dragon's gale has a moment of only 1/100th of a millisecond. When he throws the punch, his arms drop and his heart is left unguarded. This is just like Shiryu's dragon's wrath. But in Shiryu's case, it's only a millisecond. It's a very short amount of time. He fought against Shiryu and Seiya, but he wasn't at a disadvantage at all. Then, Sorrento interrupted the fight. It's hard to say for sure, but at least up to that point, Shigui-Furudo was on equal footing, or even superior to the Bronze Saints, in order to make Hilda return to normal. He allowed Sorrento's attack to strike his own heart in order to seal his attacks. So, the God Warrior raised his cosmos to the maximum and tried to self-destruct to take Sorrento with him. He fought bravely. If he's that strong, maybe he's the strongest among the God Warriors. Many say that the other God Warrior who would be at the top along with him is Mimi from Benetton Ash. Now let's show who the most powerful Marina General is. I'm talking about Sorrento. As a siren, he protected the South Atlantic Pillar. Just like the siren that lured travelers to their deaths with her song, he uses the sound of his transverse flute to steal his opponent's cosmos. Sorrento survived while Siegfried died in the anime, emerging nearly unscathed. His endurance is incredible. By his appearance, Sorrento seems to be a gentle person. But contrary to his looks, his ability is so strong that even canon respects him. In the manga, he appears as the first Marina General assassin, sent to Japan to kill the wounded Bronze Saints after the Sanctuary battle. He was gaining the upper hand in the fight against Aldebaran. His flute attack is very strong. The final Death Symphony has the power to destroy Aldebaran's eardrums. And even by covering your ears, you can't block the sound of the flute, because the sound can still be heard even with your ears covered. Because this technique targets nerves directly, damaging your hearing is pointless. Shun also suffered a lot from this technique. It's an attack method that's impossible to defend against. But in the fight against Shun, he lost. Sorrento took it head-on. The Nebula Storm hit the pillar and suffered a comeback defeat. But later, he appeared before Kanon as if nothing had happened. Taking the Nebula Storm and being fine shows that he's very resilient. Just like in Siegfried's case, maybe endurance is his strength, despite his appearance. After losing, he discovered Kanon's real motives and realized the battle was pointless. He guided Kiki, who was carrying the Libra armor, to the pillar and helped destroy the underwater temple. Sorrento was originally a music student, and after the final battle, he goes on a journey of redemption together with Julian Solo, who has returned to normal. From time to time, he talks with Poseidon, who returns to Julian's body, maintaining a close master-servant relationship with the god of the seas. Now let's meet the most powerful Specter of Hades, Radamanthys of Wyvern, the heavenly star of wrath. The 108 warriors who protect Emperor Hades are the Specters, and among them, one of the 3 judges of the underworld who possesses the greatest strength is Radamanthys of Wyvern. The 3 judges are the highest-ranking Specters: Radamanthys, Iacchos, and Minos. Each one has many Specters as subordinates, and although they are companions, they have a relationship of rivalry and mutual watchfulness. Radamanthys is the strongest among them. He leads the Specters under Pandora's command, and due to his honest personality, he has the trust of Hades and his subordinates because of his skill. I'm not exaggerating when I say he is the strongest. Instead of strategies, he prefers to act based on intuition, which he has developed through countless battles with this excellent intuition. He realized that Seiya and the others who invaded Hades' castle had received the blood of a god, and he also noticed what Orpheus was planning inside Hades' castle. Seiya and the others saw him as having a cosmos rarely found even among gold saints, showing incredible strength. Inside Hades' castle, where there was a barrier that weakened the others' power, he instantly defeated Mu of Aries, Iolia of Leo, and Milo of Scorpio. Because of the effect of the barrier, the fighting ability of the 3 was reduced to less than 1/10. Even so, he must have a high level of strength, even when compared to the gold saints in the underworld where there was no barrier. He faced Canon and hardly had a chance. Maybe he's the type who shows his strength when fighting on a battlefield that's advantageous to him. In the end, he and Canon died together. His achievements in the original manga stop there, but you could say that Radamanthys, who appears in the Lost Canvas, is much more powerful. His violent and fierce personality is the same as in the original. Because it's a parallel world to the main story, he defeated Cardia of Scorpio in his first fight. However, Radamanthys allowed the orichalcum to be stolen and, after punishment, pleaded to rejoin Hades' army. On that occasion, as proof of loyalty, he tore out his own heart, but his determination was recognized and he received the blood of the god Hades. By evolving his Sapuris into a divine dragon, he became even stronger, and his ability was enhanced to the level of a god. His fight after returning was against Regulus of Leo. In this work, he became strong enough to defeat the Gold Saint. But Radamanthys also had his heart pierced and suffered a mortal wound. His vitality is also absurd. After that, he couldn't stand seeing Alone, who acted as Hades' host, doing whatever he wanted and confronted him together with Pandora to stop him. To hinder Alone's ambition, he destroyed the painting that sealed Athena's power. In the end, when Alone tried to kill Pandora, he protected her and sent her to Earth. And then Radamanthys disappeared completely. Indeed, we can call the Wyvern Specter the most powerful. Now let's talk about the gods. Who is the strongest? Gods who have values and sensibilities different from humans and knights, and who exert great influence over the entire world. With their absolute power, they exist on another level. The world of Saint Seiya features many gods. Athena, Poseidon, and Hades are the most famous, but the series includes many others as well. They are all so strong that it's hard to choose one. First, the Emperor of the Seas, Poseidon, is the Lord of the Oceans and one of the 12 gods of Olympus. He fought Athena for control of the earth several times, but was sealed in an amphora thousands of years ago. After Canon, Saga's brother, freed him, he reincarnated by possessing Julian Solo, the 3-year-old heir of the Greek maritime trading Solo family. Seiya and the others couldn't beat Poseidon, even attacking together. He easily deflected Sagittarius's arrow. His combat ability is undeniable. Hades is also absurdly strong. He is the god who rules the underworld and the dead. To prevent humans from further corruption, he created the world of the dead and kept tormenting the deceased. In the Holy War 243 years ago, he faced the knights led by Athena, but was defeated and sealed away. Hades takes very good care of his own body. He was possessing Shun's body, but was expelled by Saori's blood, which invaded the underworld. And in the end, his true body was pierced by Athena's staff. Thus, Hades disappeared along with the world of the dead. Even so, he left Seiya in a vegetative state. As a god, he's incredibly strong and likely among the top gods in Saint Seiya. We also have Athena, who appears every few hundred years when evil spreads across the earth. When she descended as a baby, she was targeted by Saga of Gemini, but was saved by Aiolos of Sagittarius. Athena was placed in the care of Mitsumasa Aikido, leader of the Grodd Foundation, who was traveling in Greece. He raised her as his granddaughter, Saori. As a child, she was very spoiled. After awakening as Athena, her strong temperament turned into divine nobility, becoming a sword, an existence that receives immense love and trust from the knights. In the end, maybe Athena is stronger. She has many knights around her. She wears armor with a golden staff in her right hand and a shield in her left. The golden staff is the personification of Ikki. The goddess of victory, serving Athena, can achieve all victories. The shield on the left repels any evil or divine power. Does Athena defeat Poseidon and Hades because of these effects? However, in my opinion, the most powerful god presented so far was none other than Apollo, the sun god. Apollo is a superior being. First shown in the movie Heaven's Prologue, however, the canonical Apollo, shown in the Next Dimension saga, is also equally powerful and imposing, being the strongest god presented so far in Saint Seiya. So my friends, do you agree with this list of the most powerful warriors? Do you think the Japanese fans are right? Make your own list in the comments and share your opinions. Thank you for watching until the end. See you next time. Burn your infinite Cosmotel.